What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the Spotify? Because this is on Spotify. I have too many thing. We have too many different avenues where we do shows. We do Kick. We do Discord live. We do everything. So I got to stop for a second and remember where this is going. This is going on Spotify. This is a horror podcast universe Spotify exclusive, and it might actually be a YouTube exclusive over on the Pop Meta YouTube channel, possibly too. So, hi to everybody that's either listening to my voice or watching my face and Carter's face and voice. Hi, we're here. Oh, guys, I'm obsessed. What am I obsessed with? I'm obsessed with Obsession. We did Obsession last week with the Gorecast, a non-spoiler review, which fucking sucks. Not the episode; it was a great episode, but doing a non-spoiler review for this particular movie is torture because
I mean, like, I think we've covered a lot of new stuff and been like, that was fun.
yeah,
But yeah, this one is like, after you watch it, you want to talk
yeah.
about it so bad.
There's a lot of movies that are because this movie, and I'll obviously I'll ask Carter, but like this movie, there's so much thought provoking stuff in it that
Oh, hands down.
it's almost made to be talked about, like, and that's why like doing spoiler free episodes are fun, and it's especially when we're doing it in with the Gorecast where we have a live audience. It's easy to you know have discussions about stuff but not obviously get into stuff. But like, out of respect for a lot of our audience who may not have seen Obsession, like, I get not doing spoiler stuff right now. um Us as the Gorecast, we might be looking at it again in a couple weeks to do it over there. But I told Carter, I'm like, I can't wait. I can't wait 2-3 more weeks till we do a potential, and that's if we do it. There's no guarantee that we will do it. So I'm like, you know what? We'll book
We
this.
get busy quick.
Yeah, and like, before we get into like the full of Obsession, and we've talked about this again with the Gorecast. If you haven't listened to our Gorecast stuff, because this is for the horror podcast universe show. If you haven't watched the Gorecast or listened to the Gorecast on Spotify, give us a listen. It's a fun show. But we've been doing fairly recently. We've been doing a look at a lot of 2026 releases, and son of a bitch, there's a lot of good movies
Yeah.
in 2026. Carter, like, I think was like, what, did something mess up when I said son of a bitch? But like, fucking 2026, not even just horror.
It's a fucking banger every year. Like you look at what is it? He-Man. That's not
Yeah.
horror, but that's
Yeah.
fucking killing it.
Yeah.
You know,
I looked
horror's
back.
done really good, but there's been a lot of other stuff outside the genre that are still winners.
I was looking back at some of the of 2026, and there's like, whatever your thoughts are of it is fine, but like The Bride, I enjoyed The Bride. It was different. There's Hokum, which is something we recently just did. There's Touch Me, which, holy crap, Touch Me was an experience.
Yeah, it was.
There was Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Like, that was like nothing like holy crap, but it was a pretty decent movie. There was Ready or Not 2, which was a lot of fucking fun. There was They Will Kill You, which is a lot of fucking fun. Like,
dude,
there
we got Evil Dead Burn coming out. It's just,
and this is only July.
What's out and what's coming out. Exactly.
There's still 6 months or so yet to go with some big titles that I think still not even like horror. I think I would have to double check, but like, I think Evil Dead Burn might be the last kind of like really big one. And there might be other ones.
For horror.
Yeah, for horror. Other genres like the Odyssey. I'm really looking forward to kind of watching the Odyssey. I think that comes out in the next couple weeks. Then the comic book movies. You got Spider-Man, Brand New Day. You got Avengers Doomsday in December. Like, there's some Clayface for DC, which I guess technically is horror too.
I'm looking forward to Clayface just because the fact that they were like, hey, we're going to dip into a little bit of horror for that. That actually kind of is what caught my attention for it.
I'm sure we'll probably cover it for the Gorecast because it is horror. We might cover it over here. Who knows?
Go lay down.
But yeah,
Don't talk
there's
back. Go lay down.
so many. Like 2026 might be maybe one of the best years for movies. And like I said, Backrooms. I forgot about Backrooms.
Yeah, so did I, but not
Yeah.
the same good way.
I don't know. I wasn't as big of a fan as a lot of people seem to be. I thought it was okay. Oh, Iron Lung. Fucking forgot about Iron Lung. That's another one Carter was like meh about.
But I liked it better than I did Backrooms.
Yeah. Wasn't there also the Resident Evil? That was another new one. Or not Resident Evil. Not Resident Evil. Silent Hill.
Oh, yeah,
Return to Silent Hill. Like, so I'm saying, like, there's 2026 in horror have been.
Dude. Well, also, it's like apparently it's just kind of a big gaming this year because, like you said, Silent Hill, Iron Lung, Backrooms, all these are games to movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, that's another kind of big thing we're seeing this year.
Yeah. But to me, and I just gushed about a bunch of this with obviously Thursday, and then Carter's been hearing me going nonstop in our little like pre-talk. The movie of the year for me is Obsession, and that's what this episode is going to be about. We're going to do a deep dive into Obsession, and we're getting into spoilers. So if you haven't seen Obsession yet and you're kind of checking this out, do not listen to this episode until you watch Obsession because it's going to be spoiled. We are going to talk about, that's why we're doing the episode, because we did do our Gorecast, review. And so if I wasn't going to get into spoilers, we wouldn't be doing this, companion episode.
But the funny thing is, like, as I'm sitting here like thinking about the movie, even though it's spoiled, if you haven't seen it, it's still a good watch.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because while you are shocked and there are surprises, it's still like, holy crap, they said this was going to happen, but it's right there in front of me now. You know what I mean? Like, it still kind of fucking rocks you.
Yeah. And it's how it's done, and it's the performances. Like, the story itself, and we'll get into the story, like, when I get into it. The story itself is a very simple story. It's not very complicated. But the performances are what really, and not just performances, but also, the way that Curry Barker shoots certain things with the lighting and the atmosphere.
Oh, dude, yeah. His cinematography really adds a fucking layer to the overall.
Yeah. And so yeah, I hope, I don't think it's going to happen because it's just the way the movie, society works. I hope at least Indy Neveretti gets like some form of like best actress nods or something, because oh my god, she fucking stole this movie.
I don't know how you can watch her performance in this and not go, holy crap, like that was like,
and the fact that she's not that big, she's not that big of a name. She has a very small list of film or projects. I think she did Lois and
Lois and Superman and Lois.
There you go. I just can't want to say Lois and Clark, but I'm like but yeah. So, and then I think she had a couple other, like, it was like 13 Reasons, or there's something else that she.
Yeah, 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see. Trap House with Dave Bautista.
Oh.
Real small, like you said, real small list of work.
Yeah.
And she is like 25 years old.
Yeah. And so this is her first like really big movie. And even though technically it wasn't really meant to be a big movie, it was an independent film. But like, this is her breakout performance, is I guess more of what I was going. And I guess she also, from what I read or heard, I guess she wasn't really, because like this film was actually filmed in like 2024. And now is just really starting to come out. So from what I heard, because the movie obviously hadn't come out, so people hadn't seen her performance yet, she wasn't really getting a lot of like acting roles after filming Obsession. and she
Oh,
actually got into
and I
Twitch
think
streaming, and she actually has like a YouTube channel and a Twitch channel where she was like doing a bunch of Call of Duty and shit like that.
which I'll give it to her. It looks like something called Cross Words Together was 2018 and it's a short.
Hmm.
So, you know, two TV show appearances, three TV show appearances.
I think she did 4 seasons of the Superman and Lois one, from what I
Yeah, she's
remember.
got 47 episodes under that one, but
Yeah,
like 13 Reasons Why, 9 episodes.
yeah,
Something called Denton's Death Date was 10 episodes.
yeah,
But it looks like, 2018 is when acting kicked off
yeah.
as far as like the first timestamp for a credit. But the thing
So,
is, like I said, she's 25 and this is what she's cranking out right now. Like,
yeah,
I can only imagine what she does the further on down the road. But like you pointed out, though, she does Obsession, then all of a sudden, like acting kind of hits the bricks or the brakes.
hmm,
We've seen that before, where like you're almost penalized for doing too good of a job because then all of a sudden everybody just sees you as like that,
yeah.
and they don't know if you're good enough or the right fit for my
You get
part or his
typecast.
part. Yeah, exactly. You know, and that sucks because we've seen that with a lot of actors and actresses that were really talented. Now, granted, that's kind of worked in our favor as horror fans because you look at, like, say, Dee Wallace and so many others, they just made it home and they've made so many amazing fucking movies for us as fans.
Yeah.
But it sucks though because, like, you could be doing that same talent in all these other genres, bringing your talent to so many different people.
Yeah, and that's like the last couple of things before we get into moving on. Like with her performance here, even though this is a horror film, she plays she plays one character, but she plays it in so many different ways because you have regular Nikki, you have possessed Nikki, you have Wish Nikki, or whatever you want to call, however you want to call it. She does those roles, and there's so many different approaches to it. So it's like you could see her in a drama, like she
Oh yeah.
plays her like the beginning when when she's regular Nikki and we're getting to know her. She's that like fun, girl
She
next
could be like
door.
the fun friend in a rom-com,
Yeah,
like
but
that
then
you're always hanging out
the next
with.
scene, she's fucking threatening to blow her brains out. So it's like she can do so much to where, like,
Oh
I think I
yeah.
said it on the Gorecast episode. I'm like, all she really needs to do if she wants to get a role in Hollywood is just send in this tape because she does so many different types of performances where she can, like, all right, you need funny rom-com Nikki, here's my beginning where it's hey ha ha she's funny, and like she is funny like when she does some of their stuff. And I've watched a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, interviews and stuff like that. She's funny. Like she has a funny sense of humor, and like she can play off of anything. And like I think honestly I think like hopefully she starts getting more opportunities because I think she can. She really wasn't a big horror fan. She even said she's never really screamed on camera before until this movie, and it's like,
Mm.
well, holy shit! For someone who doesn't do it or hasn't done it, she can fucking do it. So it's like, I think it like to me it looks like she's very adaptable and can pretty much give you whatever you need out of a role. So we'll get into more of that when we get into like the plot, or when we go over the spoiler plot here in a bit. But before we get into that, so Carter and I think had a similar introduction to Obsession before we watched the film. We both knew there was something to do with an obsessed girlfriend, but we didn't because I
Well,
saw
I didn't even know
snippets.
I didn't even know it was a girlfriend. I just knew somebody, and I think I caught like a teaser trailer or
Mhm.
something. So I thought it was him obsessed with her,
Which in a
which
way it
technically
is.
is true.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So I just kind of thought this was going to be some, like, fucking fatal attraction
Hmm.
staring at her through the window type shit, or, vice versa, who knows. I just thought it was going to be a basic, Oh, she likes 3 scoops of ice cream, like writing little notes to
Yeah,
himself. Obsession.
yeah. Which like because I think like we normally when we with the Gorecast we do trailer reviews when we do our news episodes, and a lot of times when we're doing that, I'm not hearing what's going on in the trailers because I normally have my laptop muted so it's not picked up over our mics so that there's like no double audio. So a lot of times when we're sitting there watching trailers for the shows, I'm not hearing any of it. I'm just looking at it. Also, my stream's so far
So you
behind.
see a guy walking down a hallway
Yeah, so
going
I'm
like,
I'm seeing stuff happening, but I don't know the context of what's going on. So, and I think that's what I knew of this movie. I remember the one scene that I from the teaser or the trailer that popped up, which gives me no indication besides knew a little bit more than Carter because I knew she was the obsessed one because I do remember that clip of "Why don't you love me?" kind of thing that she does towards the end of the
yeah,
film.
okay.
That's all I
If
really knew. So
if
I
that
knew
was in the
she was
trailer,
the
I
obsessed
completely
one.
forgot about that
Yeah,
scene.
I knew she was the obsessed one. I just didn't know to the extent of how. I thought she was just he met her somewhere. He knew nothing of her. Maybe they met at a bar or a dating website or something. They started going out, and then she became obsessed with him over time. That's my original um,
Yeah.
notions of the
No,
film.
I legit thought it was just human interaction read wrong or whatever you want to call it. Like I didn't realize we were having I guess supernatural element. Like I didn't realize that that was on the table.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be more of like your basic slasher type horror.
hmm
Human
So
nature doing human shit.
yeah. So that was our going into it. Like we knew there was buzz about it. Like we knew people were talking about because that's all you
Oh,
were
dude.
seeing online, which is why
Yeah,
I wanted to watch
everywhere.
this. And that can be a blessing or a curse because a lot of times when we do those movies on the Gorecast where we watch, hey, this movie's getting a lot of talk, we need to do it as movie
A skimmer
reviewers.
rink.
Yeah, as
That
well.
motherfucker was
The only
everywhere.
thing is, I think everybody was on the right side of that one, where there's like, this movie fucking sucks, and I was like, yes, it does.
Yeah, I just heard people talking about it. Had I known it sucked, I had been like voting
Yeah.
against having to watch that.
But 9 times out of 10, when there's movies that constantly, and like I said, we're movie reviewers. It's part of our job to kind of review these movies that are getting a lot of talk. So that gives us traction because when movies are getting talked about and then we tackle it too and we promote it, we get hopefully eyes on us because, hey, people are in you know, a lot of movies especially when they're in theaters, they have, I don't want to say they have a shelf life, but like that's when it's time to talk about them.
They
When
kind of do
people,
though. Yeah.
yeah, because like once it starts coming out on streaming or Blu-ray or whatever, there's a little bit
Shit.
more, you know.
Sometimes week two, depending on the film, like it's already
Yeah,
losing steam within the second
exactly.
week, you
And
know.
that's why we're
It's
gonna
kind of that
try
whole strike
to
while the iron's hot.
we try not to do a lot of those movies because of the fact that we can't get into a lot of it. We don't. There's not a lot we can get into because of spoilers. We don't like spoiling shit for people. That's not what we do. And
But if something's good, we also like kind of helping it because, like,
yeah,
if
that
this
too.
film makes it, that
Especially
just makes
independent
horror in
films.
general. Right.
I mean, it's not really just independent films, but it's nice to help the independent films because we're
Oh,
independent
fuck yeah.
podcasters. Like we know the grind. We know it's hard to get eyes on you. So it's like the more we can help our community, again, not like us being podcasters and reviewers. Obviously, we're not to the same level as the people making the movies, but I mean, we've done that a lot with the Gorecast, where we've had you know the Dark Offerings people on a couple of times where it's like we're helping each other out. We had whatever her name was, I can't her name for some reason is not in my head, but Titanic 666.
Oh, I
Um
thought you were thinking of mukbang.
that too. Which I like her shit is now like that movie's up on Shutter now,
I saw that, dude. I thought that
which
was
is
awesome
awesome.
for her.
Like and we had her on a couple times. Why is her name? Why are people's names
Amy.
Amy Kuge?
There we
Um,
go.
so yeah, thank you. We had her on a couple of times, and she's also been on a bunch of other people's stuff too. But like, and we did something different with her too. At least I think we actually watched a movie with her, like live on
Dumplings.
Kick. We watched Dumplings with her. Um, so like, it's fun being in this little knit community of horror, like independent horror people. Where like we've done a lot. I mean, we even had the House Harker guys on.
Oh, dude, I
Their
loved
movie
hanging
had
out with
been
them.
out
Those
for a
are
little
cool
while,
guys.
but still. But yeah, so it's
Oh,
so
well,
fun to help out the independent film people, which this is, an independent film. Um, so yeah, so
it's okay, baby. Yeah, you're good.
that's our our early
You're okay.
perception of the film. We both didn't really know what we were getting into when watching this movie. We knew there was an obsession. That was pretty much all we knew. Who was obsessed, how they were obsessed. We both really didn't know. So that gets into the movie. Obsession was done by Curry Barker, who is a part of YouTube channel. That's a Bad Idea, I think, is the name of the YouTube channel, with his partner Cooper Tomlinson. They do a lot of like comedy shorts and stuff like that, but he has had dipped his toes into horror with some horror shorts. There was one called Milk and Cereal, which was from a couple of years ago. Was like a found footage style movie. And then there was also The Chair, which that one I don't know too much. I don't really know too much about Milk and Cereal either. I just know it was like a found footage style movie. And I think the original approach, or when we reached out to him to do something, they wanted to do like a full length thing about The Chair. But then he already had the thing with Obsession already kind of written, or was starting to write it, and passed that along instead, and they picked that up instead. Um, so let's get into the plot, and we'll do our spoiler filled, not free, filled plot discussion, and we'll just kind of go through this whole movie. Um, the movie follows, I want to say, four friends, but really more two of the friends are kind of our basics. Really, one of them is our kind of our eyes throughout the film. We have the two main ones is Bear and Nikki, but then we also have Ian and Sarah. That's the four friends. Now it seems like they've been friends for since almost like school time, because there's a lot of mentions of like high school, middle school. Bear, makes the mention that like we open up in Bear's like you know professing his love to Nikki, or at least we think is Nikki, because we're just seeing his point of view for a good minute or so. He's laying his heart out there. I have feelings for you. I don't know if I want to. Like, I don't want to risk our friendship by saying it. And he's doing this whole spiel, and then it turns out it's a trial run, and Ian's kind of sitting off by the side. He's like, "Fuck this! This is creepy. This is cringe. No." And the person that he's professing his love to is actually a waitress from the restaurant that they're at, and we don't know that right away until because we see the girl that he's talking to, but we don't know. And then like obviously we've seen the trend, like that doesn't look like Nikki. Like what's going on? Looks similar.
Dude, I'll give it to her though. Like, you know what? I'll sit on this to help this poor
Yeah.
guy out.
And she was
What
actually
stuff do I
helpful.
got to do?
She was like,
Right.
"Hey, maybe get a candy she likes, or some flowers or something." Ian is all just like, "No, this is
And
cringe. Don't." There's alternative reasons for this that we'll find out in the movie. We don't know at the
right
time.
at the moment though, like, so part of me was kind of torn. One, I appreciate that my friend is brutally honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if
You
you're
need
looking at
those
me and you're like,
friends.
Carter, that just sounds like shit. I'm like, okay, cool. I got to rework this. My bad. But I also like, if I'm sitting here taking relationship advice between you and this lady, like, I feel like lean into her advice.
Yeah.
Like she's like, hey, look, dude, try this or that. Like you're already doing this whole like I don't know what to do, and neither one of you are figuring this shit out. Because like you said, your buddy's like, nope, don't fucking do it, bro.
Yeah. Um And he's also sabotaging the whole thing too, because he's giving him, he's telling him, all you got is time. Just wait for the perfect time. Don't do it during trivia night, because I get a rock hard on for trivia night, so don't fuck up my hard on for trivia night. So it's like, okay, and then
Definitely
it's like,
self motivated sometimes, right
yeah,
there.
it's like, call her Freaky Nikki. I'm like, the thing that she hates, sure. Yeah, it'll be playful. It'll be like we're in, middle school and we're pushing each other on the swings. That's kind of like how he's trying to make this attempt. And yeah, again, you don't
I
know.
feel I feel that like it doesn't matter what level of life you are when you're like, I know my friend hates being
Yeah,
called this, but
probably
you're like,
shouldn't
you think
continue to
it'll
call it that.
work?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And again, down the line, we kind of see
Stop.
why he's doing he's giving this type of advice, because there's like he has motives. So we find out later in the film, and we'll get into that once we get there. So cut to the scene. We go back to Bear's house. He walks in and he finds his cat is dead. There's some, I think it's oxycodone or something like that was
Some
sitting
sort of
out.
pill bottle on the floor.
Yeah, there's a lot of medication there. I think it was oxy, but like the cat got into it and died. Bear is broken up, obviously, but then we go to him in his room crying, but then there's these little hints that, like, yes, he seems to be upset over the cat, but he says something that leans towards that. I don't think that's fully what he was upset about, because he says, why doesn't she, and then it stops. So I think he's more upset with the fact of, like, why isn't Nikki like me, pretty much. That's what I took from that, because it
Right.
says, like, why don't she, and then it, like I said, then it stops and it cuts to the next scene, to him laying in bed and, like, doom scrolling over, like, stalking her Instagram, I'm assuming. They obviously use, like, their own versions of it because of royalty, right? Stuff like that. They
You know
can't
what the
say
kids do,
Instagram.
TikTok,
Yeah, but
Instagram,
it's
whatever.
her Instagram profile. He's looking at her pictures, liking stuff. Um, and there's another, I think it's in this scene, or it was fairly early on. So these are the things that I've been noticing. And it's also, I've been doing a lot of, like, I've been watching a lot of behind the scenes and interviews. There's 4 pictures that are taken at, like, one of those, like, photo booths of the friend group. There's the top one is Bear pulling in Nikki, and it's like a blur. The second one is Bear smiling with Nikki, and she's not happy and giving the middle finger. And then the third one is Ian comes in and Nikki's happy because Ian's here. And again, we know why later on. And Bear being kind of upset. And then the fourth one is the 4 of them with Sarah. I almost said Megan, but that's the actual actress's real name. Sarah laying kind of flat, looking at the camera. And then there's X's in Ian's eyes, which foreshadows that they're both not going to make it to at the end of this movie, because obviously X is over his eyes and Sarah laying flat, almost looking like she's dead. So these are these little things that they put throughout this movie. So Nikki calls, and you could tell he brightens up. Oh my God, she's calling me. And he answers, and we find out Nikki is planning. First, she's like, hey, we're doing trivia night. When are you going to come? I need to, reserve the table or whatever. And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to come. And I got a lot of stuff to do. And then she's like, oh, man, I really wanted you to come. We need your brain for the trivia night. But she's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I wanted to tell you something. He's like, oh, what? And he's thinking maybe she likes me or something. And she's like, yeah, I put my 2 weeks in at our job. All 4 of them work at the same place. They work at Sarah's father's music store. She's like, I put my 2 weeks notice, and we're running out of time. Which Ian literally just said the scene before, all you have is time. So that's contradicting. And as she says that, it also shows the cat clock. So it's like there's so many, like, I want to say hidden because it's there, but there's these little things that they just keep putting throughout this movie that are just like, oh, wow. And so she's like, she's like, you probably should stop what you're doing and show up, because it seems like she's possibly maybe going to be moving away. That's the indication that I'm getting. Because if we're running out of
Yeah,
time, she can quit a job but still hang out with friends. So it's
that
like,
was okay. So that was my thought for a second. Like, he's like,
there's
"Oh
no
my God, the
mention of
world's
it because we
over."
don't get a lot of time to get into the plans,
Right.
but it made it
But
seem
like,
like she possibly could be moving.
well, and then like as we fast forward, then she's like, "Well, I just need a change of scenery." So like that
Yeah,
kind of solidified it. But that was kind of the weird spot for me when we back up to like the bedroom and stuff. He just has such a rock hard, like, if it's not now, the world ends. Like, I don't want to
yeah,
lose her. But here she is, like, we work at the same place, and you kind of get the feel like it's a small town. So
yeah,
like even if she doesn't work at the same joint, I'm gonna run into her. Like it doesn't mean like we're not gonna hang out. We have
yeah.
fucking trivia night
And
tonight.
so,
So he always had like a weird vibe of urgency, like an
uh,
awkward fucking urgency.
yeah. And also, there's a weird thing where it's like, seems like these people have been friends for a while, but also, I don't like, there's a lot of like secrecy and stuff like that between
Yeah,
the group to like, are they really good friends, or like you don't really know. Like it seems like they are, because they're like Ian and Bear seem like they're best friends, but like
right.
when it comes outside with the girls, like where are they're like they're friends, they've known each other for a while, but how, and they work together, so it's like they obviously see a lot of each other because they all work at the same place. It seems like they hang out, so you would think like they're pretty close knit group of friends. But then it's like their interactions through some of the movie are just like, how good of friends are they? Because it seems like, you know,
Yeah,
everybody has like, and again, we find out,
ulterior motives.
yeah, and we find out certain ones why some people have ulterior motives. But yeah, it's like how like they're close, but are they really close? Like, it's like there's a lot of stuff hidden from the four of them. Like they'll tell the other, which I guess that might be how groups of friends are. The girls tend to talk to each other
I
more
mean,
than, and the guys tend to talk to each other more about guy stuff and girl stuff with the girls, and
to a point, that's true. Like, I remember, a bunch of us sitting around, but yeah, I was a little closer to him or a little closer to her.
yeah,
But even in that same setting, like this still had like an awkward air to it
yeah,
because it was just like you said, it was more not the fact that I had a different conversation with you than I did her. There was just like you said, a lot more emphasis on secrecy,
yeah.
you know.
So while he's on this phone call, Nikki mentions, "Oh no, I dropped my crystal necklace down the drain." And so Bear's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to be, the hero, and I'm going to get her a new crystal necklace on the way to trivia night." So he stops at this like oddity shop, and he's originally looks like he's going to get a crystal necklace, and then he stops. He's like, "Nikki would fucking hate this." And it's like, okay, well, that was pointless. But then so he sees this one wish willow uh, little display for him. He's kind of looking at it, and it's just like, take the thing, snap it, make a wish, and cool. So he grabs it, he starts asking the cashier about it, who's like half paying attention to him, half paying attention to the phone call she's on. And he asks, like, she's like, "Oh, well, don't return it or whatever. Don't complain." And he's like, "Why? Are people complaining?" And he's like, "Yeah, I guess." He's like, "Why? Because it doesn't work? Are you guys scammers?" She's like, "We're not scammers." It's like, okay. It's like, is it because people are like not liking the like wish? Is it not happening? What? And she's very vague, and she's like, "Yeah, well," or like, people die or want to be killed or something. And then she's like very vague, and like, that's like the first red flag. Don't fucking buy this thing. So
Well,
like,
and for me, it was just also weird because like it has that whole vibe of novelty item sitting in a bowl right next to the register type shit.
yeah,
So for him to pick it up and then just start asking for like a fucking Yelp review for it out of nowhere was just certain like kind of super weird. That he just like, oh, this is real. Like that never would have fucking crossed my mind. Granted, that would have been my own fucking hell and my version of however that fucking horror movie turned out. But it was just like, like you said, I'm here for a crystal. I get that he looked at him and was like, I don't know. I don't think she, you know what? Fuck it. But just this works, right? Well, bud, get off the gas
Well, and
there.
it's also it's $6.99, so it's like something that if this actually works, why aren't you selling it for a higher price? Because it's like you can make a fucking steal for that. For like, I would sell it more than $7 if this actually works. So
So that also kind of makes me feel like more for like the nefarious reasons, like we like the chaos,
yeah,
so we keep
could
it
be
low for more motherfuckers to be out there
true.
doing this shit.
So yeah, so he ends up buying it, and we get to trivia night. We're at a bar. The friends are talking, and Sarah and Nikki are having their own little conversation talking about work related stuff. Sarah wants to be a writer. So that's kind of or not Sarah. Nikki wants to be a writer. Sarah wants to be an artist. She's like applying for different art schools and stuff like that, which again, we'll get to later. That was another oh. This movie, like I'm gonna go say it right now, this movie tore at my heartstrings at so many points and like just had so many emotional gut punches throughout this whole movie that it's just like, oh, this is why this movie, like, I want to talk about it because there's just so much to talk about. But again, so we're still here though. So they're talking, and then Bear and Ian are kind of sitting across from each other, and Bear's kind of like making motions like, "Hey, get the fuck out! I want to fucking talk to Nikki and tell her my feelings." And Bear's like, or Ian's like, "No, no, don't do it." So they're making their faces. Finally, Nikki's like, "What the fuck are you two doing? You're just mouthing shit, and it's like very distracting." And then like Bear's like, Nick or Ian was being funny or whatever. So then Nikki's like, "Oh, I want to go to the bar and get shots." And Bear's like, "Oh, I'll come with you." So he goes with you because he thinks that's going to be an opportunity because they're going to go together by themselves.
You
Um,
know, I'm gonna profess my love to you in the middle of this fucking bar while
yeah.
everybody's waiting on us.
So
Prime
she's
prime real
ordering,
estate right there.
yeah, she's ordering drinks. He wants a pina colada. She's kind of making fun of him, like, "Hey, pina colada. Okay, I'll get your juice." Which is like again, Nikki at the beginning is so fun. Like she's really funny. Like her sense of humor is really top notch in the scene because obviously the rest of it is scary Nikki. But like she's just he's trying to say, "Hey, I got you something. You remember?" And then like the bartender kept interrupting. You got a card for the file. Do you want to keep it open? Da da da. Then Ian shows up, and like every time Bear's trying to say something, it keeps getting interrupted. Um,
You
so
would think
then,
just read the room. Maybe a
yeah,
bar's not the fucking place to do
exactly.
this.
But we could tell from the beginning, Bear is probably one of the most socially awkward people out there, where he just doesn't
Oh
get
God, yeah.
stuff. So then Sarah shows up. He's like, "Hey, I didn't think we were all coming up to the bar here." And it's like, "Uh-huh." And then it's like, "All right, well, what are we, dedicated toasting the shot to?" And like Bear's like, "Sandy." And then it's like, "Oh, time for the trivia." So Nikki and Ian leave, and Sarah kind of stays back. Is like, "Why are we toasting to Sandy?" And he's like, "Sandy died." And she's like, "Oh my God, holy shit." And, consoles him. And trivia night happens, and we fast forward to the end of the night. We're coming out of the bar. Ian and Sarah still want to keep the party and the night going. They want to go to a karaoke bar. Nikki's like, "I'm fucking tired. I just worked all day. I want to go home." And then there's the whole, because I think Ian must have drove everybody, so he's like,
Right.
"Oh no!" And then finally, Bear's like, "I can take you home." And he's like, "Thank you." So they kind of separate. We kind of get the idea that Sarah might have some feelings towards Bear here because she's like, "Don't go, stay." And then she, kind of gives him a hug and kind of, lingers on the hug for a little bit. And we separate, Bear and Nikki go home. Ian and Sarah go to continue the night. While we're driving home, they're talking, and, Nikki's like, "Why didn't you tell me, about, like, Sandy?" Like, 'cause eventually they must have said something about it because he just said to Sandy, but then they didn't really seem like they recognize what he said. So throughout the night, Bear must have mentioned to the other two that Sandy died because and we find out his actual name, which I don't think I noticed it the first time, but I watching it again, she calls him Baron. That's actually his name. Baron's just the nickname. 'Cause she's like, why didn't you tell me, Baron? So obviously we're getting into serious, mode. And Nikki
Right.
even like mentions, she's like in this conversation, like, you're the only one that I really feel like I can open up to in our friend group. So like again, there's definitely some connection there, but we just don't know if it's a romantic or if it's just like best friends kind of thing. We're kind of thrown all over the place during this next during this scene where could
I
Nikki
feel
be
like,
reciprocated in the feelings, or is it just
see, I don't know, dude. I got a heavy, like, you're my little brother vibe. Like,
which?
you're my best friend zone
So
in
that's
the
that's the thing
car.
is we hear that also later in the film where Ian says, "Hey, Sarah said this. He talked to Nikki, and that's the feeling that Nikki said this to Sarah. Like you're my little brother. We are friend zoned." But then again, ulterior motives. Sarah
Right.
likes Bear, so could she just
No,
be saying that just to
oh, yeah,
throw?
no.
So
But I'm just saying, like, in that ride home,
yeah,
that's the vibe I was
in
catching.
the ride
Like,
home, yes, but then after the ride's done, she has a reaction to something, or we'll get into it because we're pretty much there. So yeah, she says, she wants to feel love because she's trying to write this story, and that's why she wants to quit her job. She just is stuck, and she wants a new, like you said, change scenery. And she's like, I'm writing a love story, and Bear's like, oh, so it's a romance. And she's like, no, it's a love story. And he's like, well, what's the difference? And there's a big fucking difference between the two. Love
yep,
story could end in tragedy, could end any differently. Romance is actually normally has a happy ending. So there's two big completely differences, and that's almost like the theme of this film. Is some people are like, oh, this is a love story? No, it's a romance. It's this. I guess this movie is a love story. It's not a romance because really, it's one sided to an extent. No, yeah, it's one sided because I don't really say what ends up happening is love on Nikki's part
right.
because there's the wish, and that's not true love. So yeah, so they get home and he's trying to. She says like, I'm sorry about Sandy. He's like, I don't know if it's really hit me. She's like, well, you can call me when it does. So like you said, like I said, there is a connection here of some sort. It might not be a
Oh, yeah.
love connection, but there is a true friendship at least. And so he drops her off and he cannot fucking say I have feelings for you. It's just he doesn't want to risk ruining the friendship. And eventually he keeps messing up and he's like, all right, night Nikki, freaky Nikki. And she's like, ew, like I hate that. Why would you say that? So Ian's advice again, stupid. Um and then she just flat out says it. Do you like me? Because I'm sure she can sense the way he's being very awkward, the way he's trying to do certain things. She's like, do you like me? Now is the time to tell me. And he's like, what? No, which is weird because it's like we're spending the first, 10, 15 minutes wanting to get alone time, and you have the
Right.
alone time, and you just fucking throw it out the window.
Because, like, now would be the perfect time to wind up at 3 in the morning, still standing in the front yard, uninterrupted,
Yeah.
having that
Like,
back and
this is the
forth.
time you wanted, and you fucking chicken shit
Like, legit, the
coward.
only person that's going to interrupt you is the morning paper if you're still
Yeah.
fucking standing there, you know?
So that's where it's just like Bear throughout this whole fucking film is a fucking coward with all of his decisions that he makes throughout this film. Bear is a fucking coward. And we're like, again, we still have a lot of movie to get to, and I'm not going to go as in depth than the rest of it because it's kind of, I don't want to say it gets repetitive, but like a lot of the similar stuff happens in different locations in different ways. But we're really trying to set up everything pre-wish here. So Bear's a fucking coward through this movie. He's, ugh, you're supposed to hate him. Like the performance that the actor gave
I
was
mean,
phenomenal. But
No,
they
know,
try to
like I
give you so
legit
many
felt bad
ways.
for him.
To me, to a certain point, the first half I do, but once he makes
Oh
the
yeah,
wish, and once certain
no.
things
It's
happen, I don't anymore.
yeah, no. I'm not
No,
condoning
I'm not
anything
saying. I'm
after.
just
It was
more.
like it was right there in the street where it's that whole like
Yeah,
he had his chance and like he knows, we know, you fucking blew it, bro. Because now there is no tomorrow. Hey, I changed my mind. Can we have that talk after all? Like you've lost ground. Like that was your fucking moment.
yeah. Like you did feel bad for him for the first like 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, so he says no. She's like, fine, good. And then turns around, walks back to her house, and that's it. And then he realizes I fucked up. He's like, man, why did I fuck this? So he grabs the one wish willow, and he's just like, he doesn't think that it's real. So he just was like, oh, I wish Nikki would fucking love me more than any person on the planet, and snaps it. And then fucking instantly, she's standing on the porch. For the audio listeners who didn't see that, obviously, I just pulled up because I'm wearing my Obsession T-shirt, and the next scene is when she just is standing right at the front of her door, and that's when shit happens. Her demeanor is completely different when she comes to the car. She's lost. She's kind of like, she's definitely not the person that we literally just watched 2 seconds ago before she walked away and he snapped the twig. Um, she's like, I'm sorry. It's like, oh, we want to come in. Like, I feel bad because my cat died. And he's like, wait, what? It's like, all right, man, your cat died. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about that. And then it's like, she's just all over the place. She's not the same person, like I said, that we literally just were with. And I think they did that intentionally. The bar scene, we wanted to show her independence, her,
Yeah.
not letting him pay for the drinks. We wanted to show who she was. That way, when Wish Nikki took over, we knew there was a difference. So we
Oh,
wanted to
dude,
make
she
sure
winds
there
up
was that.
having. Oh yeah, and I mean, like we wind up watching her have like three different conversations in the span of like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
He knows it. We know it. Like, what the fuck is
And
wrong
we
with her
wanted
all
to
of a
set
sudden?
up why he was so infatuated with her. We wanted to show she was funny, she was nice, she was considerate. Like, she goes and she tries to
Caring.
give
She gave.
caring a
Yeah.
homeless guy some money. That was actually
Right.
Sarah's money, but whatever. um,
Hey, she said, "I'll pay you back."
yeah,
Right. It's a loan
yeah.
to help somebody else real quick,
Um, but
but
yeah,
that shows like, hey, it needs to be handled right now. I got to go help this guy.
yeah, and we definitely wanted to set up her and why Bear is infatuated with her, and which is understandable. Like I said, she's funny, she's caring, she's sweet, all that stuff. Like, we could see why Bear would be smitten over her, obsessed with her. And that's another thing, is you could tell, like, he's the start of the obsession. Before the snap, you know, like, like stalking her social media profiles, the way he talks about her in the diner scene, like, you're my everything. Like, when I hear a song, I think of, like there's the start of the obsession, is him. And then obviously we get the snap. She's into, like, she's just in a funny. So we'll get into a little funny, like, behind the scenes thing, because it's into the scene. There's the scene where she comes over to his side, opens up the door, and tries to unbuckle his seatbelt to get him to come out to go in the house. She does this thing where she gets up and she kind of like bounces back and forth, like she's gonna go this way, gonna go this way, and gonna go this way. And Bear's like laughing, like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because he's just so random. That actually wasn't in the supposed to be in the scene. Indy Neveretti said that she actually forgot her cue. She thought she was supposed to go right, but then she went left, and then realized she was supposed. So that was and his action was the natural reaction, but it fit the tone so well, they just kept it in the movie. And because, like, she does that, she gets up and she goes this, and then she finally makes her way, and she's like said in interviews, like, yeah, I forgot which way I was supposed to go. I thought I was supposed to go left, so I was gonna go left. I'm like, oh no, I was supposed to go right. And then she like did that a couple times, and then finally just went. And his reaction to that was natural. So then she finally comes in the car and she's like, are we gonna go to your house? And he's like, I think you're acting weird. I think you may have like drank too much or whatever, which is weird because she was not acting like this at all up until the snap. Um, and then she's like, oh, well, I don't want to go home. My dad's dying. I don't want to be alone. And he's like, oh, shit. Okay, sure. Where do you want to go? And then we end up at Bear's house. We walk in, she's like, smells like you. And he's like, is that a bad thing? She's like, no, it smells like you. It's good. It's like, okay, we go to bed. She's like, he takes her to the bed. He's going to go sleep on the couch or whatever, excuse me. And she's like, can you sleep with me? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. And, she takes her shirt off and he's just very uncomfortable. He's just like, oh my God, like my dreams might be happening. So he's kind of like, So we sit there and she's just like, okay. And he's like, thank you. And she goes to start to kiss him and they're kissing. And then she freaks out and she's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It backs away. And then it's like, and then he's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? He's like, oh, I had a panic attack. I saw something. He's like, oh, I thought you were like, I was doing something that you didn't want or something. She's like, no, I had a panic attack. And then she lays in the waterworks again. It's like, I'm just so. And then we go to sleep, wake up the next morning. He ends up sleeping on the floor because he's just like, yeah, I'm not risking this. But the funny thing is, like, he's sleeping on the floor and you see her foot hovering over the bed. And it's like she is already starting the I can't be away from you. So she's trying to be as close to him as possible. So her foot's hanging over the bed close to Bear because he's laying on the floor. We wake up the next morning and there's breakfast made. Nikki's gone from bed. He's in the bed by himself. And he's like, okay, cool. And then we're here and Bear's like reacting to something and we pan down to Sandy's dead body laying on the floor with some kind of
Kitty cat.
shrine. And Nikki comes over. It's like, oh, I thought this was going to be so good. And he's just like, what the fuck? Like, no, this is not
I mean,
normal.
in her defense, had you not gone to get my cat, like if we had just found the cat like 5 minutes ago and you did a shrine real quick, maybe.
Yeah. But no,
But the fact
he
that you
threw
went,
the cat in a
found
trash
my
bag,
cat, right?
which in another thing is why is he just tossing her in a trash bag if he has such like, affection? Wouldn't you bury her? Like, so it's like
Well,
he.
it depends. Like a lot of places, you can get in trouble for doing
That's
that.
true.
Uh,
Yeah, that's true.
you know, Two,
So
like if he doesn't know where the lines are, you just
yeah,
blew
that's true
yourself
too.
up on the gas main trying
Yeah.
to bury a cat.
So he's like, oh no, it's kind of weird. So we go to work, and things seem to be somewhat normal to an extent. Andy Richter shows up. I was like, oh cool, Andy Richter's the dad and the owner of the shop. So that was a cool little cameo. Um, and then so Ian and Bear are talking back, by like the time clock. And then the whole time Nikki goes to the register and just stares at Bear and just does not take her eyes off of him. And it's just like he's trying to tell like Ian, he's like, man, it was weird. She came over, but she was acting weird. And then Ian's like, well, maybe she was on Molly again, because obviously it seems like this had happened before, that she must have been on Molly at some point once in the past. And maybe she was just having, a trip or whatever from being on Molly. And he's like, oh, Bear's trying to make everything make sense. Like, oh
Right.
yeah, she was on Molly, so her acting like that. Okay, cool.
Because I don't care who you are. Everything about last night, super fucking
Yeah,
weird.
because again,
You
this was
know?
not your demeanor at all from the first 10, 15 minutes that we saw you before this. And so it's whatever. So they leave for the night, and Nikki looks like, because she drove in with Bear because she slept at his house the night before. Looked like she was going to get in the car, and Bear's like, maybe, I don't know if I can give you a ride home. He's like, oh, I know, I'm just grabbing my bag, because obviously she gave her the ride home in the morning, or to work in the morning. And then she ends up going with Ian. So then we flash forward to Bear's at home. He's talking to Ian on the phone. He's like, yeah, we talked. She seems fine, blah, 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 blah. But then while Bear's talking, we're facing by his front door in the window next to it. We see a figure in the window, and it move over to the door. You hear knocking, and he's like, what? And Nikki's at the door. And she's like, oh, yeah, I talked to Ian. He's like, I'm so sorry. Last night I was on was wasted, and that's why and Ian said that you were kind of freaked out, and that's why I was on something, and you didn't take advantage of me. He's like, yeah, I didn't take it. He's like, I know. That's what I'm saying. You didn't take advantage of me. So she comes in and she's like, do you like me? And he's like, do you like me? And she's like, well, would it freak you out if I said yes? And he's like, so then it's like, yeah, we both like each other. Okay, cool. We start making out. We start doing this whole, lovers montage, and where they're kissing, they're at work kissing, they're at breakfast, they're eating breakfast, and everything seems to be going fine for Bear. He's getting everything that he dreamed for. He's getting Nikki.
Right.
They're dating. Everything seems to be great. Except there was
My wishes come true. Oddly.
Yeah, there was this though weird, and I don't know if you noticed this, but like they're looking at their phone and there's an AI art picture of them together where they're like cartoon images, but then it says, "Would you wear my skin as a sweater?" was like the text. It was kind of weird. It's these little things that I like I said, I've been deep diving this movie a lot the last few days.
Our terms of endearment are different from different folk.
So we're doing that, and then everybody at work, like Ian, Sarah, even Andy Richter, are like, this is kind of weird. And then things start to get into crazy. Is they're at a dinner together, they're talking. It's everything again seems to be very normal. They're making little jokes. He talking about him wanting to be a food critic and all this stuff, and everything's going well. Ian's trying to call. First time he just ignores it. And then the second time he's like, oh, okay, he called the second time. I need to see what's up. So he kind of gets up and goes. He stands, and I told Carter about this. He stands in front of like a thing in the restaurant of like a picture or something of a willow tree. Again, the One Wish Willow. There's a lot of willow stuff into this. We see her get up from the table and kind of look over while he's talking, and then she goes and sits back down. Ian's pretty much saying, like, yeah, I looked into it. Her dad's not sick. He doesn't have cancer. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on. She's making this shit up.
You don't even like talking to him.
Yeah. Like, he's like, because, again, Ian has a little bit more of a relationship with her that we don't know about at the time. So he's obviously talked to her about stuff and important stuff where like he's like, yeah, she doesn't care about her dad and stuff like that. He's like out of state or whatever, but he's like, I checked into it, he's not sick. The hospital that she said he's at knows nobody of that name, da 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 da. So then Bear's like, okay, this is weird. So he goes and he sits down and he eventually asks her, does your dad really have cancer? And then there's like this snap, like almost like the wish Nikki's trying to compute this and be like, what is going to be my response? And she's just like, no. And then he's like, no. Why does it matter? I thought we were having a good date. And she makes this big scene. She gets up. She's yelling. He's like, no, we're everything. And then so she sits her down. Like, we are having a good date. She's like, well, then why does it matter? And he's like, doesn't matter to me. Coward part number 2 from fucking...
Okay, coward part, but also, again, why are you picking the most public fucking area to have the most depth of a conversation?
Yeah.
Like, that legit was like, hey, let's go stand out in the front yard once we get home after this. Quick question. Yeah. Nothing can be broke. Nothing can be set on fire. Like... Again,
or maybe that also is a good thing because it's like, hey, we're in public, so I have witnesses if such shit goes down.
No, that's true.
But again, we haven't gotten to Crazy Nikki yet, so he probably wasn't thinking that that was going to be a potential outcome until later on in the film. But yeah, so next scene we go straight in. They're having sex, and like I mentioned to Carter, like when this is happening, Bear and like Nikki's making all the noises of, I want this, I'm enjoying this, but then they kind of do a close-up of Nikki's face. She's not there. Like, there's no...
Oh, it's so fucking deadpan.
Yeah, and this is where we get in...
You can see that in her arms, too. Like, there's no... Like, she's just... Like,
there's no passion.
Position, is the best way to say it.
And this is where...
There's no reaction.
This is going to have, when I put this up, it's going to have explicit, this is for explicit content is going to be talked about, because this is where the sexual assault thing gets into there, because there's no consent from Nikki herself. Wish Nikki, but that's not Nikki. So is like, yeah, cool, but like, there's no consent from actual Nikki here. And to like I said, I didn't notice it, but I know Indy Navarrete, who plays Nikki, said that there's actually a tear coming down her eyes. I didn't notice that. I'll have to watch it again. I know
Yeah,
like the aspect
either.
ratio of this film, and I think that was the intentional, is like really small. So it's like sometimes it's hard, like it's like a 4x, like it's not like a full widescreen thing. I think Johnny was like
Right.
saying that too. It was like, oh, when we watched it, it was like weird, but I think that was the way it was intended to be. But yeah, so then we get into Bear's in bed, but Nikki's not there. And he's like, Nikki, where are you? And it's like, she's in the fucking corner, like just watching you
Like
sleep. And I'm just like,
to that point of like The Conjuring or something
yeah.
like super,
And just her
fucking
unnatural
scary.
movements of when she comes, like she's almost like
Right.
sneaking out. She's like, he knows you there. Why are you sneaking? And then he's like, come to bed. And she's like, no. She's like, I don't like my dreams. And it's like, oh my God, it gets so, and then she backs up into the corner, and then it starts to show her, but her face looks distorted in the corner when she's like, why don't you love me? Like, it feels like it's not mutual. And but it's like, and the voice is really messed up, and like her, like,
Yeah.
it's hard to tell because it's in the dark. Again, this is Curry's genius with lighting in this film, but it looks like she's deformed, like she's not the same person, and which it isn't. They actually did put makeup and stuff on her in that scene to make her look different. And he's like, no, it is. I love you and all this stuff. And then she's like, well, then go back to sleep. I'm like, why? How the fuck do you think I'm going to go back to fucking sleep after that fucking
Yeah, no shit, dude.
And then so he goes back to sleep, and then she goes, why don't you?
One
And he's
eye
just like,
open.
and you don't see her. And she's like, where? And then she just appears out of nowhere and just does this side walk to the bed holding a plant, which I found out was an actual dancer that did that scene for a while. She was able to have that like movement, that fluid movement.
Oh,
They casted a dancer to do that scene. That's why the pot was up in her face to show that
okay.
it wasn't her doing that scene. And then she's sitting there standing. He's like, Nikki. And then she goes out. I was like, for Sandy. And then they go back to bed, and like he tries to get up again, and she's like, stay. And like, okay. So like I'll start speeding this up because like I'm literally
Like,
almost like
it
doing
got
shot for shot.
super. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like
Yeah.
that got super fucking awkward. I'm like, oh, buddy,
So this
you're
is
not gonna
the
see the
start.
daylight.
This is the start of her just unraveling, and we get into, like I said, I'm gonna say speed up, but I'm not gonna go because like I said I wasn't gonna do shot for shot, and then I am almost doing shot for shot of the film, and I think we'll just get into, because like that's a lot of the rest of the movie is just instances of her just being crazy, going like she wakes up the next morning and he's like, no more of this, like I can't handle this the crazy freakouts. And she's like, yeah, I completely understand. I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to scare you. And then one of the best scenes that actually was actually funny. I would say there's other things that's funny, but like he's going to work. She doesn't work that day. And he's getting up to go. And the best reveal is we see his face reacting to something, but we don't know to what yet. And then we pan over and the front door is completely duct taped. And
Oh, dude, I fucking loved it.
His delivery of like just the what the fuck, and then we're like, what is it? And then it pans over and it's like the door's duct taped, and it's just like, what the fuck? How did she have time to fucking? There was like multiple rolls of duct tape on that door.
Oh, fuck yeah! And it made me wonder, like, if I turn around, is the back door duct tape too,
Yeah.
or are you just worried about the front door?
Yeah. And he's trying.
Well, you could just stay here. And he's like, nope. And you can see him putting extra fucking effort into that door all of a sudden. Like, nope.
She's like, well, he's like, I guess if you can't get the door, you could stay home. He's like, no, I got it. I got it. So he opens the door and leaves. And then Nikki just stands. Like, she does not fucking move because this wish, Nikki, her sole purpose after this wish is to be with Bear. So when Bear's not in the room, she just like she shuts down and just doesn't move. And we sit there, and I think when I was watching it, I was like, did my fucking thing freeze? And I'm like, no, this is actually, so they sit on it for a good like 30 seconds or so, where it just sits there and watches her with that creepy ass smile. And then it starts to pan down because we start hearing some shit. She's literally just pissing herself. And then that's the end of the scene. We go to Bear, we go to work. Um, Sarah's like,
We're also starting to find out like that the relationship that's not only getting weird for him, it's affecting the friends.
yeah.
Like now we're all kind of noticing
Sarah's like,
the
what's going on with
awkwardness.
Nikki? Like, what's whatever? Like, you guys are just super dating out of nowhere. And it's like, oh
Right.
yeah, no, it's nothing. I don't know what to tell you. And then he's like, Ian told me that he said that you had talked to Nikki and like you were saying that like we were like she didn't think of me only as a brother and like friend zone kind of thing. Is like she's like, yeah, it's weird, whatever. And then her dad comes over. It's like, hey, we got a letter from one of the colleges. They look at it. She didn't get it. She came back, and she's like kind of like down in the dumps, upset, and he's kind of showing a little bit of affection to Sarah, like puts her head on her head, and then she like takes the little sticky note and she's like, what's the verdict, cat? And then it's just like, what she's like, what does that mean, what's the verdict, cat? And then the realization from Bear, because Nikki said, I made your lunch for you, the realization of Bear just like, she fucking cooked the
Oh
cat.
God.
And then we looked,
Well, and
but I'm
like,
like, how do you not know? Like, because he took
okay,
a
it's
decent sized bite out of it.
so many fucking times in movies, like people just sit there. Like I look at my food before I take a bite.
Yeah.
I like,
And I
you
understand he's
know,
still spinning with everything going on, that he might not be fully present to the situation. But
but I
even
still look to
Sarah's
like,
like,
I don't know.
she's like, what? Why does your lunch smell like weird? And it's just like what? And we're as the audience like, yeah, what's going? And then the cat, and they're like, we know. And then like he goes, and the funny thing is he throws up, and he's like, inside joke, and it's just like, okay,
Well, dude, and that what gets me is like it took me a second to hit, but if that fucking cat OD'd, like holy shit, dude.
yeah.
And has been sitting there for how fucking long now?
Yeah, because we don't
I
know like
mean,
the time loop of like when they start. Because we did, like, so we have that little montage.
yeah,
We don't know how much time has passed. It could have just been a
right.
couple days. It obviously seems like it's not that much time because everyone's like, you guys are like dating really fast. So it may be maybe a couple days. You don't know. They don't give us like a
I'd say like a week because you've got that cute little beginner's bubble where you're all like nonstop hanging out with each
yeah.
other, kind of blowing off your friends, and then you eventually kind of like start getting into your friend group.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they usually notice, I don't like who you're dating, or I do. Like, so I figured like maybe a week
Yeah.
because
So
the newness for him had started to wear off and he was noticing the creepy.
yeah. So um they leave work. Ian comes. They're talking. You're like, hey, like it seems like you're like Nikki's not in the right mindset, and it feels like kind of seems like you're taking advantage of her. Bear's like, I'm not. She's the one that's obsessing over me. Like I'm not really blah blah blah. There's a boys' night, like because Sarah mentions at the store that are you going to Ian's? I'm like, I didn't know anything of it. And then Ian flat out says like, I didn't want to invite you to because this is weird. And he's like, well, okay, well, we'll just do it a boys' night. And you just like, if this is a healthy relationship, she should have no issues with you going out to boys' night. It's like, okay, cool. He gets home and he's getting ready to come out, and he's almost like trying to build himself up to being like, you can't cook the cat. Like he's like trying to talk himself like, how am I going to have this conversation? And he grabs his bag, the One Wish Willow music kind of plays. He like kind of forgets that the box is still back there. And he looks at the box and he turns over, there's a help number, calls it, and he's like, some guy answers who ends up being Curry Barker, the writer director of the movie, is the voice of the help center guy. And we get into this like, can I alter the wish? He still wants this wish to happen, obviously.
Oh
He
yeah.
doesn't want it, but he wants it to be less weird.
Can I have her like not crazy?
Yeah, I
Less
want her, but I
crazy?
don't want her being Fruit Loops.
Right.
But he's like, yeah, you can't do that. And he's like, well, what do I do? She's like, has these moments where she just like freaks out. And he's like, well, the only way you could really, she's stuck the way she is until you die, pretty much. As long as you live, she's in this state. And he's like, so she's going to be fucked up forever? And he's like, yeah, as long as you live. And it's like, holy. So then it's like, boom, there's big stakes now set out there. Like, this is going to be her until you die, pretty much. Um, and then he says, do you want to talk to her? And he's like, what? He's like, do you want to talk to her? And then we start hearing just agonizing screams from the real Nikki. So there's some weird supernatural thing going on here where it's like she's in some form of purgatory or something's going on.
Limbo-ish.
Yeah,
Right.
some kind of like, get out kind of like other dimension kind of, I guess, where she could see everything that's going on, but she has no control over her body because Wish Nikki does, which is so fucking heartbreaking because it's like this person has no like life anymore. Like they have no, say in what's going on in her own body. And that's like that's
Oh
just a
yeah.
heart.
No, you're watching a fucking home movie of you.
Yeah. And you
Like
can't do
this is your
anything
life.
about it.
Right.
So and then he hangs up because he's like, again, back to coward fucking bear. Because he just like, I don't want to deal with this. So he goes in the house, opens the door, and she's just standing there. Like she did not fucking move at all after he left. And she's vomited. She's shit. She's just a fucking mess. And he's like, what? Like, no, what the? And she's just like, oh, I'm a mess. I'm sorry. I'll clean it up. I'll go take a shower. He's like, you can't cook the cat. And he's like, again, I think he's like, how does he?
Conversations I didn't think I would have to have
But
with
then
my
it's like,
girlfriend, but
how can he be mad at her when she's just in the state that he sees her at when she comes home? And it's just like,
because to me though, like I have to acknowledge my own fault in this thing. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like
it
I have to
almost gets to
acknowledge
the
I
point
did
where
this to you.
he talks to her like a toddler because
Well,
this version of Nikki doesn't know basic human stuff. And it's almost like
well,
it
and
is.
also it's that tone of anytime I take like a even hint of negative tone, she loses
Yeah.
it. So like
There's a
he's
toddler
kind of happy go
reaction.
lucky. Yeah. So he kind of has to do that whole like, I'm not mad,
Yeah.
but could we not
Even
shit
to
on
go
the
back
floor
to
anymore?
before he leaves, she actually cut his hair overnight. And he
Yeah.
gets up and he's like, and he goes, "Did you cut my hair?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's not okay." And then her reaction is like, "Oh, okay." She's like a toddler. And it's like
Yeah.
she is like almost like, "Oh, I thought I did good." And then it's like, "You tell me I bad."
It's
And
it's like all fucking emotion.
yeah.
It's either good emotion, bad emotion. Like there is no kind of like in between.
Yeah.
You're either really happy with me or I did something wrong. Oh my God, how dare I?
Yeah.
And then she takes that abuse out on herself. Like, I'm
Exactly.
so stupid. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't mean to push it. That no, babe, it's okay. No, it's cool. Just let's not cook any more
Yeah.
of the cat. How about that?
So they end up going to Ian's party, even though Ian said don't bring her. But Nikki did what she does. Like it's gonna be the worst thing ever.
Bet you Sarah's gonna be there.
Yeah, and so they're at the party, and again we get probably I want to say one of the best scenes, but this is
This
great
was
scene.
one of my favorites. Oh, dude,
Um,
the party was one of my favorites.
Bear's just like he's almost like he's over it by now, but it's too fucking bad. It's your fault. And
His
then
buddy's chewing his ass out. Like,
yeah, so
thanks for
one of the
making it a
friend
guy's night,
groups,
bro.
they're playing this Jenga game kind of with blocks where you take a block and you're supposed to do a dare or drink. So one of the guys like, I want to switch seats with Bear. He switches seats with Bear, and then Nikki pulls a block, and you don't really know what it says, but then she stands up and gives this whole incestual Hansel and Gretel story that just is pure creepy.
Dude, old girl's delivery though, I
Oh my
fucking
God,
loved it.
yeah.
Like she oh man, I don't even know really like how to word the way she delivered it.
Yeah.
It's like she's happy and there's like a little bit of like a sliver of happiness in her tone,
And
but
there's
it's
like
also
accents that
so
she throws into
fucking
it.
right, but it still is wrapped up in this super fucking awkwardness
Yeah.
that everybody else slowly kind of starts to show. And I think that's why I loved it that the fucking party scene because it was like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
And
okay, okay.
so everyone's like, okay. So then she sits down, and then it's Bear's turn, and his thing says, "Kiss the person to your left," which was Sarah. And again, just another uh, Nikki stands up, and then just the biggest, almost comical frown on her face. It's just like, and then everybody at this point obviously knows that it's just weird because obviously this whole story thing just
Oh,
happened. But everyone's just
fuck
like,
yes.
so everyone's kind of almost like waiting for what's gonna happen next.
Right. Like, are
So
we gonna start throwing shit? Like, what are we doing here?
Nikki walks all the way around and just stands behind Sarah for a good like 10 seconds with not saying anything,
Calmly.
and then just pulls her chair back and just the screeching of the chair on the ground, and then walks around and then goes to Bear's left, and then she goes and like puckers up, and then Bear's like and kisses her, and then just her like and then she just does this whole thing about none of you will know, you will all die not knowing the feeling of loving somebody like I love my bear. And then everyone's just like, okay. And then Nikki just freaks the fuck out, backs up, and has another one of her like moments where real Nikki comes back. And she's like, it's not me. It's not me. And then she takes a glass bottle and actually stabs herself in the face because she's trying to kill herself, and stabs herself in the face a couple of times, and then Wish Nikki kicks right back in. And then she's like, oh, I'm
Oh, did I
sorry.
do a bad thing?
Oh my, like this scene, dude. Fucking
Dude,
Indy
and the
Never
fact that
Ready. Like, I
everybody
swear to God, if she does not fucking win an Oscar for this performance, I'm gonna fucking flip.
the fucking look on Sarah's face as the chair just gets slowly moved.
Oh
The
yeah.
fact that she's banking a bottle off of her fucking face, and everybody in the counter or everybody in the room is just kind of like,
And then like the
not trying to
facial
jump up to
features of
stop
her
her, just be
of
like,
of Nikki, almost like there's like almost like like she's like I'm okay, and then she has this big smile, and like her face looks really like contorted, almost like she's like like a tweak or something's happening. Oh my God. And then like Bear's just sitting there like a fucking idiot, where everyone's like fucking
well,
do something. He's just like, but it's not like he's like you would think, but at this point obviously I
oh
get
no,
it, he's been
for
going through
him,
craziness the last few days.
right? For
But
him, like this
still,
is a
to see the
Tuesday.
person that you supposedly love do that to herself and not have
Right.
no fucking reaction, that was again. I was already kind of done with Bear at this point as a character. Like fucking, I hate this guy. But it's just like, and then eventually he goes to takes her to the hospital, and almost like we see them outside, like panned out really far of the
Right, like he
hospital.
pulled up to the driveway
And then
and
like
then was
there was a
arguing with the
nurse or
nurse.
somebody out, but then it's like, and then they're just at the house, and it's like, what?
I
And then
assumed Nikki did not want to be separated from
yeah,
Bear,
and she
and so
probably
she just would not
refused
like get
treatment.
out of the car.
Yeah,
Right, exactly. And so the lady's like, "Look, dog, I can't help who don't want to be helped."
yeah. So
And I mean,
so then
it looks ugly, but she looks okay.
so yeah.
Like, you know,
So we're back at Bear's house after all this, and he's just like, "What the fuck, Nikki?" Like he's talking to her, and it's like she's like, I'm sorry. Like we talked about this and all this stuff. But you can't do that. Like you hurt yourself. It's like it's getting progressively worse every time you have a freak out. And he's like, do you like me? Does Nikki like me? She's like, yes, I love you in every universe or every this or that. And then He's like, I can be Nikki. And then she start like I said, her delivery, I don't want to scream it because I don't want to like bust people's eardrums. But she's like, I can be Nikki. And just like, it's almost like the demon, like, is like also, or not, I want to say demon because it's not a demon. It's not a possession film. They've
Whatever
definitely
is
said
this
this,
form of
but
her,
yeah, it's almost like
and there's
this.
a
Wish Nikki
separation, but
knows
I
that
can be her.
it's not Nikki either. And it says like,
Right.
I can be Nikki. So it's like, even now, Wish Nikki is like, I'm not Nikki. So it's like, it's almost confirming that. And it's like, and then it's like, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And then she does this weird, like, backwards walk thing.
Oh,
And
dude, that was so fucking creepy.
I know what it is it's real Nikki and Wish Nikki battling. Real Nikki wants to get the fuck out of there. Real Nikki's trying to stay, and it's like this battle in the same body. So it's like, it's done so well, and like even she
Oh,
tries to
yeah.
run and then stops real quick. It's like the two forces are like start, and I think that's why also the freakouts start to go even more crazy because I think Wish Nikki is starting to lose control too. Real Nikki seems to be breaking through a little bit more, and I think that's why the freakouts are more intense. Where it's because Wish Nikki's starting to lose control of
I
Real Nikki.
also I also think that like Wish Nikki kind of in a way is fighting two battles.
Yeah,
Trying to suppress real Nikki, but also trying to uphold the wish
exactly.
that was granted.
Yeah,
I have to be this blah, like I
yeah.
have to be real
It's
Nikki.
almost like I
So the
have an
fact that I keep
obligation.
failing, yeah, exactly. I have this
And it's kind of
obligation.
also the same thing that the phone call the guy on the other end told Bear. You also have a obligation to be there for her because you're the one who wished
Exactly.
this. So that both of
Right.
them
And
have an
so
obligation to each other because of the wish.
right. And so that wish Nikki is like, I'm failing, I'm failing, I'm failing.
Yeah.
And I'm fighting, suppressing real Nikki. Like, so it made like super sense to me that, like you said, that struggle was getting more and more, uh, or bigger. You
Yeah.
know, like it
Like
wasn't
every
just
time she
the
freaks
like
out, it's goes higher. It's like it's
right.
elevated. Um
And we're also seeing more uh spurts of real Nikki.
yeah.
Whereas there for a few, like in the bed, you could see like nobody's in that shell, but
Hmm.
now you're seeing emotional outbursts
More
of
yeah,
I'm
more and
here,
more of real
you
Nikki is
know,
starting to come out, like you said.
seep out
And
or break out.
yeah.
Right.
So we have that scene. We have the thing where like, oh, maybe I should go. I mean, maybe you should go home, or I think I'm going to go sleep at Ian's. You can take the bed. She has this other very just disturbing monologue about like I can go to sleep and I lay down and I feel warm, but then it's going to get cold, and just like this, the fucking like speeches in this film from Nikki are just again fucking heartbreaking, but just
Oh yeah.
so phenomenally like done by Indy. Like the whole like darkness isn't a color or isn't a feeling or blackness isn't a color or something. It's just nothing. Just like this that whole. I'm just like, oh my god, like just the dialogue from her in these scenes, like this one and just a few other ones, are it fucking is a gut punch, and just like, or you could just stay, and it just like kicks right out of it again. Just like
Right.
in my head
Oh,
watching
this is
this
my
film, I'm
happy
like, I
place.
am scared, and I know this is a fucking movie, and like I just like. So he's like, whatever. He stays, and Sarah is text messaging him, Bear. I need to talk to you. I got to tell you some things. He's like, I can't right now. Just text me. He's like, you either come to the park or I'm coming to your house. So he finally he leaves. And
He
then he's like,
realizes how fucked up it could be if she comes here.
yeah. So he goes to leave, and then you hear Bear, and it's Nikki again. He's like, oh, I'm just getting a drink. And then he looks, and she's like, no, it's not. Like, she's sleeping. So, like, the entity or Wish Nikki is, like, not conscious, but real Nikki is able to somehow communicate. And she's just like, kill me. Please kill me. Like, Shh, no, quiet, don't wake her. And then this, again, I have already said how much I fucking like. Bear's the villain of this film. End all be all. There's no fucking discussion. I don't care if you don't think so. I don't want to hear it. Bear is the fucking villain in this film. And this was the I don't want to say the last bit of like or like the final, final straw here, because like I said, there's so much fucking shit that he did to her throughout this movie without her consent that I'm just like, I'm done with him as a character. He's fucking pure evil. She's the victim of this movie. And this was the line that fucking just he goes, well, what is so wrong with being with me? And she's like, I've never been with you. It's not fucking me. And then he just takes that in, and in his eyes, she would rather die than be with him in his mind. That's why he said that line. And then she's like, just please kill me. And he's just like, no. And he just leaves. I'm like, fuck you, dude. Oh my God. I wanted to fucking
I mean,
strangle him.
because like you can justify in my mind, I don't have her chained to the wall, but you have her fucking chained to the wall,
Yeah.
bro. Like it's legit. Like in that line right there, dude, I've never been with you. You have her chained against the wall, like you have her behind fucking bars.
Yeah.
You know, I know, we all fucking know. This is just the fucking rapping that you're talking to.
Yeah.
That is not fucking her.
Like I
And
get within the
you've
first
lied
maybe
to yourself.
5 or 10 minutes where he's still not processing the wish and what's going on.
Yeah.
Is it the wish?
Well, I mean,
was it the thing? But like once you get to a certain point, there's no you consciously know what you're doing.
I give you that, like, you've longed for something for so long, and then here she is looking at you and she's like, I love you. You're like, fuck yeah, dream come true.
Yeah.
You like, and that's kind of where that whole, like I said in the beginning, you have that newness to it of, oh my God, this is an awesome relationship. This is what I've always wanted. But then, yeah, at one point you're like, okay, things are weird and not like freaky good weird. Like this is just fucked up weird. You have to acknowledge, okay, the wish is real.
Mm-hmm.
This may not be Nikki. And then in that moment, when she's like, dude, I've never been with you, solidifies everything.
Yeah.
No fucking question.
No, and like I
and
know,
like you said, your fucking cowardice ass is just like, well, the rapping is better than the person inside. Like,
yeah.
seriously?
Yep. And that's where like, so I will, because I keep saying, and then I keep going on almost shot for shot stuff. So I'm gonna try to like just get, because we're getting towards the ass end anyway. He meets up with Sarah. She's kind of like, hey, just to let you know, Ian's been sleeping around with her off and on for the last couple of years. He thinks you're getting back at her or at him. She's dating you to get back at him, blah, 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 blah. And then she's also like, but I have feelings for you. And like, so like, and I think he's almost like coming around the corner to Sarah at that point. Maybe there could have been something between them, and maybe he's just so blind about his like
by Nikki
even before the wish Nikki.
Yeah, no.
Like,
oh yeah,
and to where like maybe that actually could have been something. Then she says she has that last letter from the last school, Luther, and then she's like, I like you. I was to your left, and then Nikki comes out of nowhere, smashes through the fucking car window, and just smashes fucking Sarah's face on a brick, and just keeps going until there is no more face.
It took me a second to realize, because I was like, the first second, like you just see her getting smashed into the steering wheel, and I'm like, I've hit a steering wheel. Like, what the fuck? Oh my God, she's holding a brick.
Yeah.
It took me a second to realize she's holding it in place to bash her into.
And the best thing about that is like, you knew Nikki was going to show up. It was just, you did not know when.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like, or how, or what was going to happen. Like, and it's still like, knowing that something was going to happen still didn't take away from the effect of when it happened, because it was just so fucking shocking and brutal. They were just like, holy shit.
Yet again, his cowardness.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't do anything.
She was dead. I'm not saying she was dead on the first hit. 5 hits later, pretty sure she's fucking dead and
Yeah.
half a missing face. And he stood there and watched each fucking one of those. You know, like I think she kind of like help or like she made some sound after the first two hits.
Yeah.
There may have still been something of Sarah to save, but he was just like, and then just watched
Uh,
until fucking Nikki got tired
yeah.
of smashing her against the fucking brick.
And even so, Wish Nikki's even saying, like, this is kind of your fault, but
Yep.
he's like, you wish for this. I'm so happy you did, but Sarah is kind of your fault, and it is. All of this is his fault.
Oh yeah.
So she's like, go home. I'll, help me take care of the body. And then she does it. She's like, she's ready, but go home. I'll meet you at home. And then on the way home, he stopped.
That's where I got confused because I'm like, okay, we're at a park. Where are we now that we're taking care of her?
I think it was at the music
And
store
then that's what I thought. Like,
because
why are we?
she gets the gun.
I was trying to figure out.
Oh, that's something I didn't say because I forgot to mention. Back at the beginning, Ian drops a little hint saying, "Dude, Sarah just told me her dad keeps a gun in a safe in the break room or something."
Yeah.
So that's why I knew they were at the store because she got the gun. Because that's the gun
No,
that
I'm
she
just
has
saying,
at
like,
the end of the movie.
it was just a weird transition of like, oh, hey, we
Yeah,
were
how
at the
close were
park
they to the
hanging
store?
out.
How did they get? Yeah,
Exactly. Right. And easier to go all the way back to the store to grab something, hide the body, then go all the way back home.
yeah,
It just seemed like throw somebody in a trunk and drive. Like it just seemed weird.
yeah,
But like you said, though, that's where we get the gun. And I guess we kind of needed that extra step
yeah.
to get onto the next spot.
So on his way home, he stops at the shop, trying to get another One Wish Willow to try to see if he can figure out how to, get this wish under control. Like they tell him that only one wish per person. You can't do it. He even tries to snap it. It won't. It doesn't react the same. The music's different when he opens it up this time around because it knows that he already made the wish. He tries to snap it, can't. He goes to Ian's house and then Ian finally tells Ian everything that happened. And Ian's like, and it's obviously it's hard to believe because it is something that is
Right.
unbelievable. So he's trying to explain that, hey, you are all like, hey, Nikki was acting weird out of nowhere, and this is why, and da 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 da. And then so Ian opens up the things like, no, don't like, be careful how you do it. Say that, I wish my friend never made a wish. And Ian's like, I wish I had $1 billion. Snaps it, and just money starts raining from the fucking sky. And then we go, Nick, Bear goes back to the house and he's like, Nikki, can you do something for me? And then Nikki again, standing in the corner when he comes in, we see this little weird shrine. We see Sarah's naked like body in like the kitchen, like just fucked up beyond repair. And then Nikki's doing this weird like walk, and then like he's like, help me do something. And then she goes into the why don't you love me, and that's the thing from the trailer that I told you where she's screaming, and she's in very dark again, not being able to see a whole lot because of the lighting, but she's actually scalped Sarah and took her hair and also drew Sarah's tattoos on her because she thinks that he likes Sarah and she's trying to almost look like Sarah because, hey, maybe if I look like Sarah, he would love me now. And she pulls out the gun and she's like, I'm going to shoot myself in the fucking head, or I'm going to kill myself if you don't sit it up. And at the same time, Ian's banging on the door like, hey, the $1 billion, it's real, man. So and Nikki's just screaming at Bear with the gun, like, I'm going to do it. Ian finally comes in. She turns around, she shoots fucking Ian, and she's like, tell me you love me. He's like, I love you. She's like, scream it. He's like, I love. And then she's like, oh, I knew you did. And then again, snaps out of it. And then she's like,
Yep.
I wish I was pretty. And because she's fucked up herself, because she also did hit herself with that brick one more time to try to, I don't know what the fuck she was trying to do. And then Bear's like, I love you, honey. I love you. Okay, we're never going to be apart. And she's like, we're going to be together forever and ever and ever. And then he starts to get up. He's like, oh, I want to let's go freshen up. And she's like, oh. And then he goes in the bathroom, locks her out. She's banging on the door. It's like, you fucker. And then he's trying to, and then he finally is like, I got to end it. I can't, like, finally he gets the, I don't want to say courage, because he technically actually doesn't want to end up doing it anyway.
Or he's just giving it up, or just giving up.
So he has the gun. He's gonna, try to kill himself, and then he's like, no. He tries to puts the gun in his mouth, and then he like backs off and throws the gun, and he finds those pills in there, and he's like, I'm just gonna overdose like it did the cat did. So he takes one pill, and then he just swallows a bunch of them, while the whole time Nikki's outside the door just like, hell, we could take a break if that's what you want. We could break up. Da, 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 da. It's like trying to do whatever it can to appease Bear and get, the finality that Wish Nikki wants, to be with Bear. And then he takes the pills, and he's just sitting there, and then he goes to puke them up again, motherfucking coward. Goes to puke him up, and then you hear a snap, and then he just kicks out of it, and then he's like, and happy and smiling. So obviously, Wish Nikki made a wish, the same wish. I hope Bear, obviously you didn't say it, but like you're getting to the assumption that she made a wish that Bear would love her as much as she loves him. He comes out, he's standing, they're staring at each other, big smiles on their face. But also with just blood dripping all over her face because she keeps fucking herself up.
Yeah.
Such a fucking just great image. And they kiss. Bear succumbs to the pills. He dies. Nikki's sitting on the couch, just the fucking pain in her cries. Like, it's just, Indy Neveretti just sells everything fucking perfectly. You just, the heartbreak that the love of her life, Wish Nikki's, is dying in front of her, and just the screams of agony. She goes to pick up the gun. She's like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to Romeo and Juliet this thing. He's dying. I'm dying too. She goes to put the gun, and she goes to almost pull the trigger, and then she snaps out of it. And real Nikki comes back. And then she pushes Bear, and then she just starts wailing and crying. And then we cut to credits. End of movie.
And sadly, I'm like, dude, it almost would have been easier for her to fucking pass. Like, had he held out a little bit longer.
So,
because now you look at the aftermath, there's no way to explain it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's a dead
she's going to
body
prison.
Here, there's a dead body there. Oh yeah,
she's going.
Not to mention
her hands are on everything, regardless of if it was her physical body that like her fingerprints are all over it.
Oh yeah, not to mention now we'll say at least this movie is a week long, and all of those memories.
Yeah,
for a fucking
because she saw it all.
She is in so much like. It's the man. You need therapy. Like,
if you're not going to prison, you're checking yourself into a mental hospital because her mind's gone. So I will give you something. We'll do this. We'll give your final thoughts of the movie. I'll do mine, and then I'll get into the fun alternate endings and alternate things for the movie. So, what are your final thoughts?
Dude, I fucking loved it. And, like, you can't help, as you pointed out throughout the film, like, you can't help but, like, grow such disdain for Bear. Like, I felt bad because, I mean, like, man, who hasn't had somebody they wish that they could finally, say whatever it is they wanted to say to them. I get fucking being shy, but, even from the beginning, it's obvious that he is past, I really like her, I wish I could tell her. Like, he's blocking everything else out in life. His friend's sitting here trying to give him bad advice. He's not acknowledged it. Sarah's been trying to talk to him this whole time. He's not acknowledged it. Like, he was already too far gone before the movie even started, And so you can't help but not hate the dude. And as the movie progresses, he just keeps earning fucking strikes of why I hate this motherfucker. You feel so fucking bad for Nikki. And Whereas I thought I was just gonna be watching some dude peeping through a fucking window or some shit. The fact that it was a wish, I love it because we've seen that story so many times of like, you can't wish for love, you can't break somebody's free will. And we've seen people, I can't think of the top of my head, but like old Tales from the Crypt or, shit like that. And it never,
No.
never fucking ends right. It always winds up being something horrible. And this film did all of that beautifully. Like it's telling the same fucking story, but the way old boy does it is just highly fucking entertaining. It's sad as fuck, but I mean, like the way he tells a story, the way he laid it all out is just fucking good. And to go, wait, this guy's you know, not to try to make fun of him, but to point out, wait, this guy's just a fucking YouTube. Like holy shit! Like he's just been making YouTube shorts and stuff like that. Like here he is making this. It's like it only kind of reinforces a lot of the conversations that we've had in the past of like, you don't need necessarily big Hollywood. Like this is why we dig the fuck out of indies because a lot of them have these kind of ideas and then just get choked out by the repetition of Hollywood. And it's like, holy shit, man, more of these kind of films creatively need to be done.
Yeah. Part of me with when it came to with Bear and his infatuation with Nikki was like, I'm more thinking that I think he's more in love with the idea of Nikki than more of Nikki herself. And that kind of is what happens throughout the movie where he just will not do right by her to save her. He's more concerned about his gains and like I said, the whole, him backing away when she's saying "kill me," and just a lot of the comments. I think he's more, like I said, I think he's more infatuated with the thought of Nikki than he really possibly maybe is with just Nikki as a person in general. And they try to set him up to be a sympathetic character within the first 10 minutes or so of the film. But I think that was in a way they kind of needed to do that to almost show just his utter downfall as a character throughout the rest of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, you have some sympathy for him at the beginning. Once the wish shit starts, you lose, and you might have smidges of it at the very beginning, but the whole like in the whole theme of you know sexual assault and control and all that stuff, it's such a tough subject, and like to do that film in this way is like it's I don't know, I'm gonna say it's great, like it's not great, but it's like it movies and stuff like that don't tackle subjects like that like this. And I think it's an important film because of that, and I think it needs to be seen by more people because it's not okay. It's not like you don't own anybody, and the way like the Bear character takes away all of Nikki's identity and her freedom of choice and all that stuff and just takes it from her is just despicable. And it, like I said, a lot of people, I'm not saying a lot of people, but like going into like everyone's thinking, until you watch the movie, oh yeah, this Nikki, she's the villain of the movie. But whatever. And it's like it couldn't be any more opposite. Nikki's the victim of this movie by multiple people. She's the victim of Bear. She's the victim of Wish Nikki. She Everybody fails Nikki in this film. And it's sad. And I think this is the biggest reason why this movie had such an impact on me. It's just the way that they touch these subjects, and it's heartbreaking. It's infuriating. I don't think I've ever been, and again, that's the point of the character. Like, there's nothing to do with the actor playing this character. He's playing the character the way this character is supposed to be played in this film. But you despise Bear by the end of this movie. and it's 100% earned. And like I said, I do think this is a very important film to almost put a mirror to this subject and be like, hey, this happens. This happens in real life. There's some form of potential supernatural whatever in this movie because of the whole One Wish Willow and the whole thing. Like whatever voodoo, whatever shit it is, there's a little element of supernatural whatever. But at the end of the day, this shit happens to some extent in real life. People attempt to take people's free will and choice and it's just it I think that's the part that, like, is the biggest gut punch, is like this really happens to people in the real world, and it's heartbreaking. um Nikki Indy Neveretta, like I've been saying this throughout the whole episode here, she fucking deserves her flowers in this film. She makes you feel every emotion in this movie. Before pre-wish Nikki, when it's real Nikki, like you feel, the her compassion, you feel her, humanity, her, just niceness, her, humor. And then when you get into wish Nikki, like you feel everything. The freaking going in and out from manic to normal within a snap of a finger. For somebody who said that she's not really been into like screaming or like giving that kind of performance, is just, and I know she said that she would not show anybody her performance like in table reads or anything like that. It was all on spot. Like she didn't want to spoil any of her performance to anybody until the cameras were hot. And a lot of those reactions from the actors were legitimately true. Like that's how they were feeling, because that they did not see her practice this. They did not. She held everything from even the director. She didn't even show the director a lot of the stuff. So like he was even like,
Really?
oh yeah. When she did a couple of the scenes, he wasn't sure how it was going to be because she didn't give it to him. So when she started doing the shit, he's like, oh okay, yeah, we're good. She's got this. So it's insane. I gave this movie a 10 when we did it on the Gorecast. I know Carter gave it a 10 when we did it with the
Yep.
Gorecast. It's like I said, it's a tough subject. It gets dark, but there's also some scenes of a little bit of humor here throughout. There's a lot here, and I just absolutely love the shit out of this movie. I think Curry Barker did an amazing job for his debut film as a director. Holy shit. I mean, he's done shorts, but like this is his main, theatrical film. Kudos to him. Kudos to the cast. Like we've been talking about Nikki, but even let me pull up. I had the cast up before, but I want to actually call people out by name, and not just be like the guy who plays or the Michael Johnston, who plays Bear, was awesome in this film. Like I said, the character itself, not the best, but that's the way he's supposed to be. But I think Michael
Right.
Johnston played him to a T. Great job. Cooper Tomlinson is Ian, fucking killed it. Megan Lawless is Sarah. They didn't have as much screen time as the other two, but all four of them just did such an amazing job with their characters. But yeah, so that's our thoughts and the plot synopsis. Couple of things that I want to talk about. So I've been kind of hinting with this alternate ending and other stuff. The ending in the script, this was not the original ending with her not dying. The actual ending was written as a, Romeo and Juliet thing where she snaps out of it holding the gun, Bear's dead. She snaps out of it. And then she looks around and she's just like, what the fuck, whatever, and she actually takes the gun and shoots herself and kills herself. That was the original
No
ending.
shit.
Everybody dead. That was the original ending, and then I think somebody got into Curry's ear, were like, "Hey, let's film a version where she doesn't die." And they said that Indy's performance on that version was so much better and so, you know, moving to where they're like, well, now we got to do it this way. And Curry said also he thinks it's a more fucked up ending that she lives than her dying.
Oh, fuck yes, it is.
Because dying puts a finality to everybody. Here, there's so much more that could happen with her, with like, what happens next. And that is also more terrifying than just her dying. Um,
Easily.
another addition was Bear when he takes the pills. Um, Originally in the script, he just sits there and takes it and dies. And then, or no, he sits there and takes it. The snap still happens. He still gets up, walks out. But the thing that was put in after was him attempting to throw the pills up. That wasn't in the original script. But Michael Johnston said, I've been with this character now for a while, and I think this would be what Bear would try to do. His cowardness would try to throw up the pills. And Curry at first, but first he's like, "Hey, I want to talk to you," and Curry's like, "Well, the shot's done. We were good. Your hair was fine. We don't need to." And then he goes, "No, I have an idea." I was like, "What's your idea?" And he told him, he's like, "Holy shit, yeah, that's Bear." So yeah, we'll add that, and then they shot that, and that's the way they did it.
I fucking like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally fucked up. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, so here's the other one. The last minute, another last minute change. So the original cut opened in Bear's house finding the dead cat, not the him practicing on the waitress. The movie was supposed to open up him finding the dead cat, and they because they wanted to do a bookend where both scenes opened and closed at Bear's house. So
Okay.
they wanted to bookend it, and they just, for some reason, decided they wanted to add that extra opening to the movie. But yeah, so here it says softer ending, which I just went over. Um, the film was inspired by The Simpsons. So the premise was inspired by the classic Simpsons parody of the monkey's paw. Barker created the One Wish Willow concept specifically because the original monkey's paw trope felt too recognizable. So where you said the wish happens, like you said, you've seen this story happen a lot. We see the monkey's paw, the wish happens, but it doesn't go the way you want it. And there's some kind of fuckery, and that's kind of similar to how this happens. There's fuckery. So the last little thing that we'll get into is the accomplishments that the film has made. So, box office records and milestones. This is the highest grossing festival acquisition ever. So, when movies go to festivals, when they're doing that, they're playing these movies to production companies to buy the film to distribute. So, this was purchased by Focus Features at TIFF, which is the Toronto International Film Festival, for $14 to $15 million, which became the highest grossing festival acquisition in cinema history, surpassing the Blair Witch Project. Sorry. And I guess a bunch of different movie companies were trying to outbid to get acquisition rights. Micro budget record holder dethroned Enter the Dragon to become the highest grossing film in history with a production budget under $1 million, grossing over $426 million worldwide against a budget of $750,000. This movie also is the highest grossing original horror movie of the century. It was the highest grossing horror film released since 2000. It returned roughly 330 to 426 times its initial production budget. Its Focus Features biggest hit became the highest grossing film in 24 years from the studio, and historical box office endurance. It broke the record for the highest fourth weekend gross for any horror film, and recorded the biggest second week ticket sales spike outside the Christmas holiday window. This movie just did nothing but dominate. And again, I know why. I can tell why, because it is amazing.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So we spent almost 2 hours now gushing over Obsession. Yeah, I don't, like I said, like final thoughts, words before we leave. This movie just, like I said, it affected me. Like I watched it. I've been obsessed pretty much ever since. I've been the last few days. I've just been watching, behind the scenes stuff, interviews, reviews from other people, and watched it a few more times. And that's why, again, the knowledge that I have going into this episode, I have because I've been watching a lot of stuff since then. Because this movie affected me in a way I did not expect going into the movie. I was just like, another horror movie. And then I watched it, and it's just the performances, the themes, the stuff that it's trying to tell you. It just did such an amazing job. Like, I think it tried to, I think intentionally or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I think it was, but like, I think Curry. I don't know. Again, I might be trying to put words into Curry's mouth or whatever, but like, just putting a light over the themes of this film when movies I don't think want to. They don't want to touch uncomfortable topics. And I think this film did. And if that was the intention, if it wasn't the intentions, if it was just Curry Barker who just wanted to do a not a possession movie, but a wish movie, obsession movie, maybe his original plans weren't to take a uncomfortable look at some of these uncomfortable topics and bring light to them. If that wasn't his intentions, then I'm not trying to put words in his mouth. I'm not trying to, take what he did and try to put it out that that's what he was trying to do. But I think it happened, regardless of his intent or not. This movie, shone a light on sensitive topics and shown the light that it is not okay. And that, sexual assault, trying to control people, it's not okay, and it's not tolerated and shouldn't be tolerated, and you should put an end. Obviously nothing's going to be put an end to anything. Like, there's fucked up people in this world. I'm rambling because I just, like, again, we've just been talking for 2 hours, and I just think that that's just, like I said, like, I've seen some reviews and I've seen some people that either know of people or have had, sexual assault happen to them, and it's tough for them. It was tough for them to watch this because it wasn't really put out there that, hey, trigger warning, this is going to have this kind of topic, and it affected people pretty hard. And yeah, so great movie. Again, like I said, I was kind of rambling because I'm just, my thoughts are kind of all over the place right now. But great movie. if you haven't seen it, I mean, if you're watching this thing, you should have seen it by now because this is a spoiler-filled review. So hopefully you did see it. If you did enjoy it, let us know. Leave a comment, like what your thoughts were. Like I said, I absolutely love this film. Carter seemed to really enjoy it.
Oh fuck yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's gonna wrap it up. Like I said, I think I was rambling a little bit towards the end there. I was kind of going in a like my brain, like I'm like I kind of want to have like have a point, and then I'm just like my head and mouth weren't connecting for some reason, so I just kind of started rambling. So, yeah, like I said, hope you enjoyed this episode. Carter and I might do these every once in a while. Just kind of, hey, we want to talk about something, so we might just nothing like no scheduled or anything like that. If something pops up and we want to talk about it, we might do another one of these. Another movie, tickles our fancies, and we want to get into a spoiler discussion, we might do it. So, any
Oh,
last
yeah.
words for the folks before we skedaddle, Carter?
If you haven't seen it, see it. If you have seen it, see it again.
Oh yeah,
It's worth it.
it's gonna
Just see it
be
again.
as of recording, hitting 4K tomorrow. This is as of Monday, July 13th. So Tuesday, July 14th, it's going to be hitting 4K. And Friday, July 17th, we'll be hitting Peacock. So it's getting more accessible to people that may not either want to rent it or whatever like that on streaming or whatever. Some people like the physical media. They want to get the physical media, or they already have Peacock and it's like, well, why do I want to pay $20 for it when I can just wait for it to hit Peacock since I already have Peacock?
Right.
So it's going to be more accessible to people now. So with this week, which is another reason why I kind of wanted to do this episode, to kind of go with its 4K release and its Peacock release on Friday. So watch it again, watch it again, watch it again, watch it again.
Yippers.
Yeah. This has been Buzz and Carter. I don't know how to end the episode. I'm just trying. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you later.